when you're sitting in the plane before takeoff, what do you have in your hand? Your phone, right? Because you're about to turn it off anyway. So he's sending your last messages, and then he sees something strange happening outside the window. What he sees shocks him and his seatmate, who is a million-miler with this airline. And what he sees is baggage handlers who are throwing his bag and other bags which were checked in gate side about 12 feet through the air into the bin below. Now, this is the actual video.
Dan, watch the bag. Watch the bag. There you go. You wouldn't want to walk down the stairs.
Ooh. Now, this video was posted online before the flight took off. Okay? He shared it on YouTube before the flight took off. And he's not a Paris Hilton, but he still can upload it on YouTube. By the time he landed, the video had 200,000 views. Okay, on YouTube. What's this one?
That's a heavy one.
It's coming.
Here we go.
Now, the thing is, it was the first long weekend of summer in Canada. And by the end of the weekend, this video had 3 million views. Okay? To Air Canada's credit, they respond within 3 minutes on Twitter because they have an active social listener policy. They also issue a press statement over the weekend saying that this is an absolute breaking of airline rules, and these people have been suspended pending further investigation, and they might be fired. Okay? Now, I want to ask you a question. If you were this guy's boss, the baggage handler's boss, who has clearly broken airline rules, and if this guy was not unionized, would you fire him? Okay, about 1/3 of the room would fire him, yeah? Don't tell, no, I mean, you won't get in trouble. But if you're the manager, you would fire, about 1/3 of the room will fire him. Now, what if I told you that this points to a larger discussion, which is to do with core airline operations and not just a social media video going viral, which is this. Air Canada recently brought into service its new 777 HD plane, which is the high-density seating, which means in the same plane there are 91 additional seats. Okay? Of course, from a numbers perspective, the revenue managers are jumping through the roof, celebrating that we got 91 additional passengers, we got premium economy, 4 classes, fantastic, or 3 classes in this case. But what that means is there are 91 passengers with carry-on bags which won't fit. Now, is it practical to expect the baggage handler to walk down that staircase 91 times, because that's what the airline rules suggest? Not really, unless he has really strong hamstrings or really good legs to do that up and down. The interesting thing is this is not an exception, as the Runway Girl Network recently shared that Air Canada is going to convert all their 777s into this. And guess what? You've got a serious problem on your hand because you don't want a 3 million view video going on every 777 that takes off, right? Because it does impact the brand. In fact, today's social media is the early warning system for all airlines on what might be a very big problem coming up, and you've got to pay attention. Now, you might think that Dwayne is alone here, but guess what? He's not. Welcome to the age of the connected traveler. He's not alone. We saw lots of statistics today. This is just a quick stats on what people carry on board. 82% have smartphones. How many of you here do not have a smartphone? Who's got a Nokia? 2 Nokias? Any BlackBerry guys here? With the keypad? That's because the company says you have to have a BlackBerry, right? Now, all of these people are flying in the air and ensuring that they're connected almost throughout, if not at the airport, then on board as well. And they're sharing real time. That's the obvious thing to do. It's a second nature that if you see a bag being thrown, you take out your camera and you film it. It's second nature. What is also second nature is something like this. You've got passengers connected at the back of the plane. Any guesses how many devices this guy has? 5. He's got an iPad, a laptop, a camera, a BlackBerry, a keyboard for the iPad, and if you count the screens in front of him, 2 more screens. And he's in economy class. Okay? People today carry their living room up in the air. And that's the reality. Even up front, you might recognize some of the faces up here. This was on a business jet flight across the Atlantic, but there was Wi-Fi. So this is what people do. They're connected, and they're working, tweeting, Facebooking, whatever they're doing, right? But they're connected. This is Mary Kirby, who's sitting back there and speaking right after this. When she flew US Airways recently, she says, you know what, I'm on an A321. My tray table is broken, overhead bin is broken, but the Wi-Fi is working, so I'm complaining about it. First world problem. But guess what? This is how the connected traveler behaves today. They won't necessarily tell the flight attendant. They might tweet or Facebook about it and expect the airline to take care of it. And the airline that wins is the one who's listening. And Mary, was anyone from US Airways waiting for you at the gate when you landed? No? But they did respond. I saw their response on Facebook. So they have a very good social media team, which needs to translate into a very good operational team as well, right? Hopefully. But hey, guess what? She's not alone, too. This is what happens in an emergency. Step 1, put on oxygen mask. Step 2, take a selfie. This is on a Singapore Airlines A380 flight, which was diverted to Baku, Azerbaijan. And this is the first thing the guy does, and his wife is waving. What panic are we talking about? I mean, this is an emergency landing, yeah? This is how the connected travelers behave, and you've got to be ready for these personas. And we've put together really detailed frameworks on how to deal with each type of persona who's in flight, but the airlines have to be ready. The connected traveler is here.